Sometimes when you're a rapper that raps about certain things, the idea of actually having an art form behind your rap and making your music personal doesn't matter as much. But this album really proves when it does matter a lot, you really get something that's really good and you get a project that's really worthwhile to listen to, and you're going to get a lot of great stuff out of it.
Up in the club, there's big batty galley all round me. And I know baby gal full Asian, but that big bat looking all Saudi. And big batty galley get murked in BMW and Audi, yeah.
So today we're reviewing Ard Adz Miskeen. I've had a weird kind of time in terms of Ard Adz. I kind of listened to hella Quengings, and then when he came out in the very early days with Sneak Bowl, Show Shallow, etc., and then just didn't really follow up with him for a very, very long time until Adam, which was a decent album. I didn't really break it down anything that deep. There's just a couple songs that I pick out and kind of return to and enjoy. But this album, I was impressed by quite a lot of things, because I feel like when you've been rapping for so long, and especially when you're used to rapping about a certain set of things, which means you advertise yourself as a certain person, the art side of things usually isn't something people care about. People don't care about making things personal and that sort of a thing. But Ard Adz really makes an effort, and more than an effort, he succeeds in a lot of different places. But to start with the concept of the whole thing, I think it's really well put together. So Ard Adz, he uses his heritage, where he's from, and personal experiences, and the culture he surrounds himself with and grew up with, to very much give you who he is as a person. So, for example, he's from Morocco. So in Morocco, there's got a lot of Arabic culture within the country, and he kind of brought that with him when he immigrated to this country. I believe so. I'm not sure. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. He brought a lot of that with him, and even then he was still surrounded by Arabic culture when he was in the country. So he channeled that into his music with the different song concepts and even the concept for the whole album, with the artwork and with the title Miskeen. And Miskeen means poor in Arabic, which I think is a nice touch. And there's plenty of these things throughout this entire tape that are nice touches that just make it personal, and really feels like you're getting to know Adz as a person a lot more, and explains a lot of things that he did previous and how he lived his life as well as how he currently lives life. So I really like the whole concept of the whole thing. So we're going to start off with Aisha. Aisha means alive and well in Arabic, and it's usually a girl's name. So it's very topical because the whole song revolves around the idea. And the feature from Serene, her voice is great. I'm not going to try and guess which of the two national languages it is, but I'm going to guess it's supposedly the Moroccan form of Arabic, which they speak in that country. It's one of the three most common spoken languages there, and it's got like elements of French to it. I'm going to assume it's that one, but if I'm wrong, someone in the comments can tell me. But I really like what she does with it, and I like what he does with the actual rapping itself. It's very sincere, it's very honest. He's saying what he's trying to say, and he stays on topic, and the tone of the song reflects what he's trying to say. There are a lot more songs like this where you can tell they revolve around a concept or individual song concepts, but still relate back to the overarching theme. So Real One is about the relationship with his mum and how he kind of feels guilty about his antics as a son, resulting in hardship for his mother and a strain on their relationship. It Got Real is about times where he was on road and things got real and mishaps occurred. And these are personal road stories. Everyone loves to tell stories about how they did this on road and that on road, but it just feels very generic. It doesn't feel personal, especially when you know some of the things he's saying actually happened because it's been floating around on social media at points. Even when the tone of the songs aren't as serious, he's still on topic. Even when the topic of some of the songs aren't as serious, the concepts of the songs and the sounds of them still reflects what he's trying to do with the whole album, which I think is really good. Obviously, Saudi is a song that just fits with the entire concept of the album. It just makes sense to have this song on here. Pray For Me is definitely my favourite song on here. That sample from Lauryn Hill is brilliant, and it really does show that he can vary his rap flows across the entire project. And that's one of the songs he does really well with. Tipsy is another one. It's a very fun one. It's kind of more on the drill side of things, but I think it still kind of fits, if that makes sense. In terms of Pray For Me and a couple of the other tracks that aren't quite as serious and just kind of showing off his rap ability, he does pretty well. A lot of punchlines that I feel stand out for me is the spinner's got power like Obama. Feds want my head like Mo Salah. That's another funny one. But I still think he comes along with a lot of these punchlines all over the place. And it kind of draws attention to the fact that, yeah, I know I'm talking about serious stuff sometimes, but sometimes I just want to show you that I can rap pretty well, and I've been doing that for about 10 years with no label backing me. So I like that. I like the variance in a way. I think the features, some of the features fit really well with the entire thing. So AM on Vamonos. Vamonos is a good song that kind of fits into what he's doing with the whole concept of the album, and I think the sounds that are used on the instrumental just fits, especially with the changes in language as well for both AM and Ard Adz. It just works. It makes sense. But then we start to get to the point where I kind of didn't like. I didn't like how some of the songs just didn't feel necessary with everything else that's going on with the concept of the album. It's really good, but it's just not needed. I mean, I really like the skit. The skit kind of refocuses you in a way. So sometimes you have some of the songs before that kind of distracts you with what's going on in the wider concept of things. But then this skit draws you back to what the entire thing is about, and the anger in his voice as well shows kind of a lot of passion and how important this topic is to him, and it just refocuses you, which is nice. I just feel like there's a lot of songs on here that are good, but just weren't really needed to do what you wanted to do with the album in the first place. Songs like Regulator, songs like Wages with J-Boy. J-Boy's verse was pretty good as well, and M-String offers quite a lot to that track as well, but I feel like it didn't necessarily need to be on this album. You could have taken it off and had these as singles to just drop later. I don't really feel why it needed to be here, if that makes sense. It didn't really fit with everything else you're trying to do. Chalice, it's in the middle for me. I think the general sound does fit with the album. Topic wise, I don't know, it just feels a bit generic. But vocal performances and lyrical performance from Adz and AM, pretty good. Like, I like both of them. Obviously not trying to confuse AM on this track on Chalice with AM on Vamonos. Just try and stay with me here. But AM, vocally, I do like him a lot. I think he has quite an obscure voice. I think his vocal range is quite impressive. He doesn't feel like he's straining himself, but he's quite thriving as well. It's not quite as kind of flamboyant singing voices that you get, the ones that can do all the wavy shit like jumping around different notes. I don't feel like AM does that as much, but I think what he does, which he can be quite simple at times, it works really well. To talk a bit about Dilly Dally, Dilly Dally's another one that I didn't really think fits with the concept of the whole album, but it's still a good song. Grizzy gives a pretty good hook / verse here, and I think he's kind of the highlight of the song. But it's another where it's just like, well, pull that out and just have it as a single to release later on. But the problem is this just distracts you from the whole concept and kind of compromises the integrity of the album. I know a lot of you guys are thinking watching this, why does this matter in terms of the whole concept thing? If you want to just slap a song on an album, it's your right. You're not the artist, so why does it matter to you? Let me explain. So let's say you're talking about pears.
I eat pears now and shit.
And you're discussing everything to do with pears.
Pears.
And you make this whole speech, and you've derived the whole thing around pears.
Pears.
And then all of a sudden, if you spend half of your speech talking about cake.
What? What the f?
Everyone starts getting really confused. You're like, well, what's cake got to do with anything? Cake is nice, cake is enjoyable, but cake had nothing to do with the pears you were originally talking about. That's basically the best way I can explain it. It's the idea, in order to keep the integrity of the project whole, you need to have as much of the song, well, songs, plural, on the entire thing, draw back to your initial concept. Which is why half these songs just aren't needed on this album, as good as they are. So overall, with everything considered, I'm gonna give this a B- /C+, and I'm leaning on the B- side here. It's very borderline for me, because I think the concept is really solid, and the tracks that do relate to the concept are really good, and when they're built around the concept. Even the ones where he just wants to lay back, have a bit of fun, show you that he can rap and vary flows, sonically, in terms of the sound, it fits as well. But some of them, they just don't really need to be there, and it kind of is distracting, and it kind of compromises the integrity of the project as well, which is kind of irritating for me, which is why I feel like if you take the unnecessary songs out, this is a B, rather than B-, yeah, you could say B minus slash B, but I definitely think that bumps it up a bit because the integrity of the album just improves. Sure, some people would say, oh, you're rating it so highly, even though Ard Adz isn't the most technical rapper ever. No, he's not the most technical rapper ever. But if this whole topic and the whole concept is interesting to you, and Ard Adz maybe is an artist you've been following for a long time, or just that general pocket of the scene, you're going to like this album. And I think this album has a lot to offer in a lot of different areas, and it's good to see what Ard Adz can come up with when he's a lot more focused. And this shows how focused he was. So that's the end of the review. Like and subscribe, all that other stuff. I feel like I've been varying and jumping around genres, but you're going to notice in terms of reviews, I do that a lot. The next one I think is going to be La Vida Loca. Don't keep me on that, because the Mez Babylon Can't Roll one that had to get lock off because technical difficulties.
Right, technical difficulties, yeah?
So yeah, again, like and subscribe if you like the content, etc, etc. If you want to debate me about anything I've said in this video, any points you want to argue with, oh my god, why did you overrate this album, you're actually talking shit, that's what the comments for. I always like to reply to comments. I mean, obviously it hasn't started yet, but that's something I want to build up. But yeah, see you guys in the next video.